Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Draw Control Podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by incoming sophomore on the Cal women's lacrosse team, Brynn Gallagher. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today, Brynn, and how's everything going?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing well, almost the 4th of July coming up, so I'm looking forward to that. And the weather's finally starting to get nicer as well. It's been a little bit of a tough month of June, weather-wise.
Yes, awesome. Awesome.
Well, how is your summer going? And do you have anything fun planned, whether it's lacrosse related or not?
My summer's doing pretty good. I've been coaching a U14 team, a club team out of Reno, Nevada, pretty local, all my local girls. That's pretty fun. Unfortunately, I'm having to get hip surgery this Monday. So I'll be doing that and starting my recovery process this summer. So looking forward to get that done and over with.
Well, good luck with that. And in regards to the coaching thing, how is it beneficial for yourself to see the game in a different way and different perspective? And do you think that helps you out once you start playing again?
Yeah, I think the main reason why I'm doing is I grew up going through these playing for that travel club team. I played for like a year and that club team and I moved to a different one, but I really enjoy just giving back to the community and watching little girls develop into great lacrosse players and young women. So that's why I enjoyed doing it.
Well, I was going to ask you about what you're training on for next season, but it sounds like training might be stalled a little bit with this surgery. So, how are you going to sort of recover from this hip surgery, and when do you expect to sort of get back and start in training and doing lacrosse related activities?
Um, well, my goal, I'm gonna be out for the whole year, so I'm gonna redshirt. But my goal is by season, so spring season, I'm hoping that I can join the team and just practice with them and start running, start doing more contact. I'll be on crutches for a while, so I'm gonna keep my strength up once I'm off those crutches. Hopefully, be able to lift some type of weight and do that. But I'm excited to watch my team this fall and support them.
What's the recovery process like after hip surgery?
So for mine specifically, it's a 12-month recovery. Uh, I'm gonna be on crutches for 4 weeks. The 6 to 12 week is when I can start doing moderate activities, so like biking, swimming, and then from the 12 on, I can start doing contact. And then 9 months, I'll start feeling a lot better, be able to probably do handle a 2.5 hour practice, 3 hour practice. And then 12 months is when I will feel
Yeah.
completely need to go.
What made you want to get this surgery? I'm just curious about that. Did you get it? Was it like a lacrosse injury or was it something that's been bothering you for a while?
So it's been bothering me for a while. I've always had some type of discomfort, pain in my lower back, hip area. And beginning of this season, my spring of freshman year, I started getting like really nervy groin pain. So it was very uncomfortable, kind of prohibited me from competing. So I went to the doctors and they're like, yeah, we need to fix your labrum and fix your femur bone. And so, yeah.
Well, I sort of want to transition now and talk about the beginning of your lacrosse career and sort of work all the way up to where you are today with Cal. So, like you mentioned, you're from Reno, Nevada. Talk about growing up there and how'd you start playing lacrosse?
So Reno, Nevada is not particularly a sport or a lacrosse hotspot whatsoever. I was actually a part of the first girls' youth program there, and we had in Reno. I was playing basketball at the time. Was a big basketball player. Played basketball all the way until sophomore year before I transferred schools, and then um, I started lacrosse when I was in fourth grade. Fell in love with it. I knew from day one I wanted to go play college lacrosse, and I made that happen. Uh, I was told from a really young age that if I wanted to play college lacrosse, I had to get on a club team somewhere in California. So I bounced around from club teams. I was on a club team San Diego, Sacramento, and then the Bay Area. And then I went transferred to a different high school and I was in Florida for a little bit and I played for a club team there and then I was able to commit. It was a very challenging area, I would say. I flourished faster than my peers and teammates. I would say when I was a U12 playing for the U12 team, I was also playing up for the U14 team. And then when I was in middle school, my dad was the head coach of a high school team where in middle school I played strictly high school lacrosse, and it was awesome playing as a seventh and eighth grader. I was playing up against freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and I think that helped me a lot to grow. And then I, when COVID hit, I had to make a really tough decision to leave home.
Did you
And then,
watch any lacrosse growing up? And if so, what were some of your favorite players and teams that like you admired?
so lacrosse was still pretty new, and ESPN didn't really provide, or any TV carrier didn't have lacrosse, like especially women's lacrosse. So it was very hard to come across a game. But what was really popular was YouTube videos. So a lot of these college lacrosse stars had YouTube channels, and that's what I watched. And growing up, I idolized Taylor Cummings, midfielder, draw control specialist on Maryland. I watched her draw, like, I watched all of her YouTube videos, was a big fan of her, and I admired her, and I still do to this day.
Now, before college, like you mentioned, you transferred from Nevada to Florida to play for IMG. Talk about your lacrosse experience with IMG and what you took away from that, because I know it as a basketball school, based on the research that I did. I didn't realize how like heavily involved they were in athletics, though.
Yeah, for sure. Lacrosse at IMG was different than lacrosse from Reno for sure. You had a lot of East Coast girls going there, and I would say there was a big difference between West Coast lacrosse and East Coast lacrosse. And coming from such a not a hot spot for lacrosse, it was eye opening for me, and it was awesome. I love the competition. One thing about me is that I love competing, and I love working and fighting for a spot on the team. So it was a big transition, and I'm so glad that I made that transition and I was brave enough to just say, yes, let's go. And you got what you wanted out of it for sure. And I really am thankful for those experiences. And I took away a lot of IMG taught me how to advocate for myself, because you're by yourself in high school and you kind of had no one else there for you. I mean, your parents were there, but I was across the country, different time zones and everything. But becoming independent was a big learning curve for me, learning how to make sure my laundry was done, making sure my uniform, like my school uniforms were washed and ready for the week, um, making sure my room's clean, my homework's done, going to class because you didn't have your parents on you and be like, oh. So that was a big thing. And then it pushed me to limits that I didn't know I had athletically and mentally, for sure.
What's like the best memory you have from your IMG days?
I loved every second of it. So that's a very tough question. But I would probably say the travel trips going up east and competing with some big or ranked high schools. That was pretty cool for me. I really enjoyed doing that.
And how did your experience with IMG help prepare you for college lacrosse?
I think I went through that transition phase already. So going from high school to college, I was already able to I had time management skills. I was able to be more responsible, think ahead, make sure my laundry was done, making sure I was eating, like preparing all that. I think also being homesick. I wasn't homesick my freshman year of college. Unlike some girls in my class, they started to feel it later on, and I kind of knew how to deal with that and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it definitely helped me prepare, not just lacrosse wise, but like just life in general, being on your own, living on your own.
Now, I do have a random question for you because I thought this was one of the funniest sports stories of all time.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts of when IMG played Bishop Sycamore in football and won 96 nothing? Did you guys know that was a fake school?
We did not at the time. We were like, holy smokes, like that our football team just must be really good. But it was a big scandal. I'm not wasn't really aware of it until after. Didn't do much research because I thought it was just funny. But yeah, it was pretty cool. All the boys coming back. that week back, like that week that they found out that it was a fake school, I'm pretty sure the football coach actually asked them not to go to school because of the questions and the publicity that they could have gotten. So yeah, I didn't see them for a week.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just think it's crazy that they got like people who are like in their 30s going to play high school students. Like, I don't know how you manage all that, but I just remember that. I thought it was funny, so I thought I would
Yeah,
ask.
that is really, it was really funny at that time. I still is. It's a funny, cool story. IMG seems to never fail for those wild stories.
Now, talk about your recruiting process with Cal and what made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at.
So my recruiting process, I was a little late because of COVID my junior year. It canceled a lot, didn't have tournaments, didn't have summer ball, and that's where you primarily get recruited out of. So it was a lot of film-based recruiting for me and my class. And so I committed late. I was a senior, going first semester senior, and I ultimately picked. Funny story, actually. I did not want to go to school in California. I wanted to go on the East Coast, far away from home. But Cal reached out to me and they showed interest. I was like, okay, like the academics is good. Like that will set me up for life. And I liked it. I went and visited. I loved it. I loved the campus. I could see myself fostering a life there. And so when came to commit, I was full heartedly ready to commit. And it was long. It was because it wasn't just like a week and then I was committed. It was like 2, 3, 4 months of just talking to them consistently. And ultimately, I picked Cal because of the academics.
What was sort of like the biggest adjustment you had to make to college lacrosse? Was it the speed of the game, the physicality? Like, what stood out to you the most?
I think it was the physicality and the speed because in high school lacrosse is a lot different in the physicality for sure. I think being a midfielder, I was able to run past people in high school and not really get hit. In college, there's girls and defenders that are just as fast as you, if not faster, and they're stronger than you. So you have to really learn how to hold your ground. And I think the mindset from college to high school is completely different. You're fighting for that spot on the roster on that travel team. You're fighting for playing time. You're fighting to get subbed in. Even at practice, it's a dogfight because you're trying to get in on sevens and work your way up to work with the older girls. Uh, I would say that's the problem, the challenge for sure.
Now, you play in the Pac-12. What's it like playing in that conference and just the competition you play every game?
So the Pac-12 has some really competitive teams and outstanding players, and it's awesome to me to just see them and play against them. It's awesome. Another cool part is like the Pac-12 has changed so much. You see girls from the East Coast wanting to go and play in the Pac-12, and it's changing the lacrosse world on the West Coast, especially. I think they're bringing a lot of the East Coast players and mentality to the West Coast, and I think that's like awesome. I love seeing that.
Are you going to miss playing USC?
Yeah, yes, unfortunately, yeah, I will. I mean, they beat our butts, but
hmm I feel
it's
actually bad for them because that travel must stink going to all those Midwest schools when you're all the way out in California.
yeah,
Just
I
because
don't know.
that's the reason why they made that move was only for football too. So I don't get like why they wouldn't just keep them in the Pac-12 for lacrosse.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I mean, for lacrosse, there's definitely better competition on the East Coast. They'll be playing a lot of good competition there. So I can see that way, but I mean, it's unfortunate for the Pac-12 to be losing them because that's a tough game.
Now talk about your freshman year and what you took away from it both on and off the field.
Um, okay, so on the field, being disciplined, overall being disciplined, even off the field, being disciplined is a big characteristic of college athletes, I think, or student college athletes. Um, you learn a lot about yourself the first semester of college. What you just learn your habits, you learn everything, and you come from high school where you are the big fish in the small pond, whereas when you go to college you're the small fish in the big pond and you're learning and it's a whole nother world. And I think it's very important to be confident in yourself and know yourself and trust yourself. So I think that's the biggest takeaways I took away from college.
Now, individually, what would you say was the biggest improvement you made to your game last year?
I think physicality, being able to handle the physicality, being physical on the field, lacks IQ. The game of lacrosse from high school to college is a lot different. It's a lot faster. The ball moves faster. Everyone moves faster. Everyone knows basic lacrosse IQ. You're not no one on that field is weak. Everyone knows everything. And you, I think specifically for me, I learned how to play lacrosse because I am a West Coast player, and West Coast players are typically athletes. And I always viewed as myself as an athlete that played lacrosse. And I'm changing my mindset from that. And I'm a lacrosse player instead of just an athlete.
Now, obviously, Cal is a very good academic university, and obviously, you play on you're a D1 athlete. So, how do you learn how to balance both um, academics and lacrosse at such a high level?
Um, it's hard. It was hard. First semester was rough. It was a big adjustment coming from a high school where academics weren't as challenging for me. School isn't the easiest for me, but I like school enough to flourish in school. But some things I've learned is time management is big. You have 30 minutes before practice. You're reading your assignments. You're getting your homework done as fast as possible. Um, I've also learned how to ask for help. Having your teammates read and review your essays is very helpful. A lot of my teammates did that for me, and I'm very thankful for them for doing that to me. And you learn how to use your resources. Most colleges provide tutoring, free tutoring for their athletes, and I used it, and it was amazing having tutoring just at the palm of your hands. It's a lot easier for the athletes than regular students to get tutoring.
What was your favorite moment from your freshman year?
Um, Probably experiencing the Pac-12 tournament. I think that was pretty cool, especially it being home. So even though we got out pretty early, we were able to watch all the other games, and it was awesome to just watch high level lacrosse at home.
Now, obviously, you're not going to be playing next season. So, what with your new role on the team, sort of being a practice player and sort of a sideline cheerleader, what are your
Mm-hmm.
team's goals and expectations, and what do you want to do to sort of help the team have success on the field?
Um, I think for my team, it's probably just keep getting better, win more games, win the games that we can, control everything that we can, being disciplined, being a powerhouse, and redefining what Cal lacrosse is. I think that is probably our main goals for going into next season. For me, I think just doing the best I can to stay engaged and be a team player because it's about the team, not just me.
So we're now in a segment I like to call six questions that have nothing to do with lacrosse. And the goal of the segment is to hopefully get to know you a little bit more off the field as well as some of your teammates. So first one is if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself and why?
Ooh. Probably Jennifer Aniston.
Hmm.
I like her. I like all of her movies. She's awesome. Probably one of my favorite actresses.
I would say for me, probably Tom Cruise, just because I think he just seems so cool. And
Yeah,
I think it'll be an honor to say that Tom Cruise played me in a movie. So I'd go with him,
that's awesome.
even
Yes,
though he's like a few years older than me.
but he's a great actor.
Now, what is your go-to karaoke song?
All my teammates know the answer to this, and it would probably be "Taste" by Tyga, the clean version, of course. But yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
I would say for me, probably like Down by Jay Sean. That's a good song that gets people going. So I would never do karaoke because I'm just too embarrassed and scared to, but I would say that would be my song if I had to be forced to do it.
yeah, that's awesome.
Now, what is the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
Um, oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. What was yours? What's yours?
Mine was just the NHL draft, seeing some of the guys that got picked and some of the free agents that might be signed. And Yeah, I think Connor Bedard's going to be a stud for the Blackhawks. So looking forward to seeing him play as well as Carlson with the Anaheim Ducks.
Sick. After you saying that, I just remembered probably the NBA draft. A lot of my peers that I went to high school with from IMG, a lot of the basketball team got drafted, like Jarris Walker, Deontay, Jet Howard. So that was pretty cool seeing people that I went to high school with going and being first round picks. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, best of luck to them too. That's like such a hard. I don't think people realize how hard it is to get drafted in the NBA. It's like only 1% of players can do that. So to show you how many players from your school got picked, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome to see them move on.
Now, what is the most underrated holiday and what is the most overrated holiday?
The most overrated holiday is probably Valentine's Day, I think.
Hmm.
It doesn't need to be there, I don't think. And then the underrated is probably St. Patty's Day. I think that's a fun holiday that could be celebrated more.
I think for me, underrated would probably be like 4th of July or Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Just because I feel like with the Christmas Eve, everyone thinks about Christmas Day, but I really enjoy the hype of Christmas Eve and just some of the stuff
Yeah.
that my family does. And then 4th of July, I just think is a fun holiday just to relax and barbecue and just enjoy the freedoms we have here in this country. So I'd probably say that. And then I agree with you with overrated. I'd say Valentine's Day as well. But
Yeah.
I will say it's pretty funny to see like which people are together and which people have broken up and stuff. Just going through Instagram stories, I like doing that.
Yeah, seeing that. 4th of July is an awesome holiday. I'd probably switch my answer from St. Patty's Day to 4th.
Awesome. Uh, what speaking of your teammates, who has the best style off the field besides yourself, obviously?
Obviously, yes. I'd probably say Kate Rothman. She's going to be an incoming senior. Yeah, she's always looking cute. I had a couple classes with her last semester, and she always seemed to be put together.
Now, one more non-lacrosse question is, what is one item on your bucket list that you'd like to do one day?
Um, I would like to travel. I want to travel the country and see a lot of new things. I think I have a passion for exploring and doing things out of the norm as transferring across the country for high school is pretty crazy. I love that. So I would love to go and see new things.
That's pretty much mine as well, just sort of travel and see different parts. And then one thing that's sort of unique is I would love to fly in a hot air balloon. I just think that looks a lot of fun. And
Yeah,
I'd love
it
to see
is.
like take pictures on top of it and see what all the landscapes you can see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've done that before. It's awesome.
Oh, really? Is it
Yeah,
scary though to get on it when they like light it up?
no, it's not. I mean, I was young when I did it, but I don't think it was scary at all. It was awesome.
Now, getting back to some lacrosse questions, now the final three is what I call it. What is one thing you think should be done to help grow women's lacrosse from your perspective?
I think us college girls or women who were in the game of lacrosse, I think giving back to the community and help develop young lacrosse girls and teach them how to become themselves and be authentic. I think that's probably the best gift that I and what we can do for the future lacrosse players.
Now, for all the younger players that are listening to this, what advice would you give them on what it takes to be a college lacrosse player like yourself?
I think never settling is something that's very important. I always told myself I'm not going to settle for something I don't want or that I want, but settle for something the next best thing. If you want something, go and get it. You can make it happen. Um, and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. That's the biggest thing. It's believing.
Now, do you have any shout outs you want to give to your teammates, family members, or friends? And who should we have on the podcast next?
Um, I mean, more Cal lacrosse players, of course. I think that would be pretty cool to hear from them. There's some pretty cool girls on my team that come from pretty cool backgrounds. I think that would be interesting. That would be awesome to hear them.
Well, thank you so much, Brynn, for coming on the podcast. I do appreciate your time. It means a lot to myself. And I just want to say you're a great player, but an even better person. And I really do appreciate having this conversation with you and getting to learn more about your cross experience with Cal.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate this opportunity that you gave me. It was awesome.